Okay, so as you already know, my name is Santiago Castillo, and I'm pretty happy to present this project that I have followed for some years back in Colombia, because I think it's one of the biggest companies with potential of growth internationally. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to show them here at EM Strasbourg. So first of all, I'm gonna talk about the problem or need that was found here in this company. The company is named Tea Hatsu, and what happened is in the start they were looking at Colombia as a country that has that has the widest variety of fruits in the whole world, and the tea market was not yet really explored. However, they did have one big barrier, which was the coffee market. As you know, Colombia has the best quality coffee in the world, and it's the third country that produces the most coffee. So we had a market that was really explored, but the tea was not that explored because it's an Asian market, basically. So this company started to see, okay, we have a market that is not yet explored, and they started to look for a new niche inside this tea market. This new niche would have a higher income public, interest in more than tea, not only just tea, but different flavors for tea, exotic fruits, and healthy products. Because you know that nowadays the tendencies for the world is of changing from sodas and from this type of drinks that have lots of sugar to other drinks that are more healthy. So here, more than a problem or a need, they found an opportunity, and they found an opportunity of a market of 48 million people, in which there were only three brands: Lipton Tea, Nestea, and Mr. Tea, which basically had the same four P's. They had the same distribution, they had the same product, basically the same flavors, lemon and peach. They had also the same packaging, so they were not really differentiating between each other. And they wanted to give a contribution to the market and make a more dynamic company. So this way it was born Tea Hatsu. So what is it? There you can see one guy, that's the CEO, and then another handsome guy. And well, I had the opportunity to meet the CEO. He's called Julian Oquendo. He founded this company with two other people, and he actually has created 7 companies. 3 of them went bankrupt. So what I would say is he's a real entrepreneur, but he's also really aware that the frustration and failure in this type of activities, such as entrepreneurship, is something really important, and it's something that each entrepreneur has to live any time in his life. He has lived it 3 times. So they started in 2009, all the conceptualization of the business. They worked for about a year and 2 months in this, and then they went out to the market in 2010. And then they have had a steady growth during the last 5 or 6 years, and this has been really important because they have grown in a very good way, in a very homogeneous way. So, what are the innovations that this product manages? Hatsu means start in Japanese, and they started thinking about, well, the name as something simple, easy to say, as many of the other stuff they do, which you will see next. And they basically thought about having the idea of a lifestyle, and this lifestyle will be of happiness, will be of a different type of looking at the product, will be more as Hatsu being a happiness lifestyle than just being a brand of tea. So here we can start with some of the innovations. One of them was the industrial design. The Hatsu bottle was designed especially by some engineers, and it was protected from industrial design, which is one legal way of protecting your designs for 10 years, so no one else can use the same design. And they basically want to make something clean, simple, and colorful. It's a glass bottle, so it's also kind of green in the sense that it's not like the Tetra Pak or these other elements that are really hard to decompose. And actually many people collect these bottles because they find them really nice. So if you can see this design, it's interesting, you kind of like it, but it's not like really complex. It is really simple. So, but I think this is one of the best ways to make marketing. And then we can start talking a lot more about this marketing they make. They say simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. So what I want to show you is how they use this simplicity to make products that will be in the head of the people. So these are the flavors that they have. I'll go for each one of them. First of them is white tea and mangosteen. The mangosteen is the fruit you see there. It's a Colombian fruit, and it was combined with white tea. So basically one Asian product with one Colombian one. And if you had tried to eat it, you would actually think it's nice because it's naturally sweet, and the fruit is really good in this combination. It has also these healthy issues, which are it has antioxidant, it's low in calories, and it uses stevia instead of sugar. They also have the yellow star fruit and lotus blossom tea. The lotus blossom is the flower that grows in the rivers, and the yellow star fruit is another Colombian typical fruit. It would be hard for you to imagine the flavors, but in any case, this is a very good combination also of flavors. They also have green tea and honey, a more traditional one. This was one of the first. And this would be antioxidant and herbal and diuretic in terms of healthy lifestyle. They have blue pomegranate tea. The pomegranate is that fruit that you see here. It's also this tea, for me it's the best one. It has a very good flavor. They also have lilac cherry blossom tea, and this one specifically has zero calories and carbohydrates. So it's also more like a, more healthy even than the others type of drink. They also have one of roses and lychee. Lychee is more known here nowadays. Before it was not that known, and this is one of the products also that Colombia is starting to export, and also roses. It's the first producer. And they also have this one for pu'er red tea and red berries, which is also very nice. This one is fruital, it's digestive, it helps in memory, etc. They also have black tea and lime, which is one of the first they had. And as you can see here, it says it's refreshing, revitalizing, and it's also repairable and detox. And finally, they came up this month with a new proposal, an organic tea, and it's made of ginger and lemon. And then, as you have seen these images, they're pretty well done. So I'll show you some more of the things they have done, because for me they are genius in terms of marketing in social media. And as you know, if you're marketing to young, high-income populations, social media is the best way, and it's also the cheapest way. And the other way of marketing they have is by giving some proofs in different type of events. Also in financing, they were pretty innovative because they went into a time in which they had no ways of financing the company. So they started to sell 1% of the shares of the companies to individual persons. And in the end, they got 35% of the company sold to known people, to family, to friends. And this way they had a way of financing better the company. And recently they sold 65% of the company to Postolon S.A., which is the distributor of PepsiCo products in terms of drinks in Colombia. And this is also innovating in terms that they are maintaining all the ideas of Hatsu, but they will have a very high financing from the second biggest company in soft drinks after Coca-Cola in the country. So this will be very good for distribution and for investing in infrastructure. This is kind of innovative in the Colombian sector, because normally these oligopolic companies, what they try to do is to throw out the other type of companies, but since Hatsu has a different concept, they preferred to invest in it and they believed in this project. And they have done, in these terms of innovation, one really interesting type of innovation, which is having strategic alliances for brand co-working. So they're taking advantage of some allied brands. These advantages also give them one of the most important advantages, that is the sense of being an internationalized product, because they are with brands that are pretty international. And to have accordance between the brand and the products that consumers buy. So the people that consume the brands I will show you would be normally the people that would like to buy this tea, or the people that want to consume these brands. And they call it sharing with the coolest. So the first example would be Adidas. For instance, they start doing this type of images in which they combine Adidas logo and their actual logo with their teas. This was the version they made for Adidas, and it was pretty interesting because they gave the bottles of tea in a cage like if it was shoes, and then you open the shoes cage and you have 2 bottles of tea. So this is really different from what we're used to. You never buy an Adidas tea, but they are doing this, and you know, these brands are pretty big, so it's really interesting for the people that are consuming it. And by the way, most of people think this is not a Colombian company because also their marketing is a lot in English. So this gives the company a big reputation, and it's pretty hard to do if you're just a startup. The second big strategic alliance was with Mini Cooper. So here you can see the design that they made. They started working with the same idea. The people that want to have a Mini Cooper or that would use it, etc., they would buy this type of product, and they have very good imaging in this sense. And finally, this was the strategic alliances. Now I'm going to get more into marketing and social media because they also are very innovative, and in this sense, they don't have to be with a strategic alliance to be really interesting for being a tea company. So I'll show you some of the pictures that I like the most and that they do move in social media. So one of them is they invented this Celebrities Days. So they started to put their design with some celebrity, as you can see here. You can see Minnie Mouse. Who is it? Yeah, sure. And then you have Michael Jackson, Marilyn Monroe, and then here you also have Chaplin. You have really interesting new types of images. It's really interesting how they combine the brand with these idols. Another way they did it was with art. So they started using the different types of arts or really famous paintings, and they put the logo there. So it's really interesting how they do this. So here, for instance, they have Magritte, and here they have Andy Warhol, and also, for instance, then in Halloween they started saying, you know, enjoy Halloween. So then they had like allocations for Mickey Mouse, for many type of costumes that are normal. They are also involved in different topics that are for common understanding of the people. One of them is this special edition they made for the Gay Pride. They have really interesting promotions in each of the big dates. So in Black Friday they do this, or this image that is say live the Holy Week with Hatsu, so that would be like an angel. Also the FIFA World Cup, and they're also with the animal lovers. So they would be like really into this type of topics that many companies don't really put in their promotion. This would be the special editions for Christmas. And then finally, the other last, and for me the most important, and also for the CEO, the most important innovation they have made And this is one pretty hard innovation to make, but the experts said that the corporate culture is the future of companies. And it's something that we don't really take into account that much when studying management, but in this case it's really important. The CEO says he needs every employee to be spiritual, and by spirituality he doesn't mean to be Catholic or to be Protestant, but to believe in something. So there would be people that would pray, there would be people that would do yoga or whatever that has to do with spirituality. They have to be healthy. In fact, most of the employees there are vegetarian. And he's also pretty flexible for the Colombian environment in terms of schedules and of hours. So he thinks that the uniqueness of the company is given by the people. He says that any other brand could have good designers, any other brand could have good flavors, any other brand could copy their flavors. But what he says that not any other company could copy is the corporate culture they have in their company. So he stressed a lot in saying that coherence is the principal value of the company. And actually the employees would become kind of the product. So the employees would be just as the product is marketed, as young, healthy and creative people. And he would be willing to help them to give evolution for themselves and for the company throughout continuous education and throughout human resources management that is pretty unique. So what is an example of this are the offices. They have a flexible work style, they have music in the offices, they have an interesting design, they believe themselves as a family and they work for the achievement. So what he said is Hatsu is the energy that its people project. And as you can see also in the marketing, like in this image, they project this. So some examples are one of my friends that works there, she sent me some photos of the offices. So you can see they're not conventional offices. This is also very special in Colombia because normally it's just conventional offices. There would be people really happy. I know you parties don't look like that. So, you know, they have a very different type of organization in their offices. This would be the type of offices they manage, and that would be it. So they basically believe that if you can dream it, you can do it. And finally, for the business model, he says he doesn't use the Canvas business model as it is, but they did develop a new entrepreneurship model from their different companies they have made, because they found they lost in some companies because of some mistakes. So now basically he says they have three phases for this model. The first phase is the interpretation of the opportunity. So he identifies the characteristics of the markets, and he believes that the opportunities are there. It's not like they are created, but it's just to catch them and try to be the best you can in executing this opportunity. And the objective of the business has to be really clear, so the employees and all the people that work with the company will go in the same direction. The phase two is the creation. So there must always be a product of service or service that derivates from this opportunity. So he has to make the preparation of the product, and then after this preparation, which could last long, for them it lasted 1 year and 2 months just in preparing and having doses, but then it would be recuperated, hopefully. And for instance, in this part, they are not really fans of marketing research. They believe in surprising the customer. So they wouldn't do focus group or anything like that. They would just have a new flavor and give it to the market, and they believe that this will surprise the customers. And finally, the third phase is to define the body and the soul of the business. That's how he calls it. So the body would be generate a big research on the processes that have to be taken into account when developing this business. So this could be the legal processes, the sales, the administration, the promotion of the product. And then by the soul, it means the fundamental values of the product. So basically in this case, it's saying that it is better drinking tea than a soda and than any other product with lots of sugar. And if this value is clear, the competence is not overpriced because they're not competing with Mr. T, Lipton Tea or Nestle because they are giving an added value and they are actually more expensive. So this competence doesn't belong to the price but more to the added value they generate. Also to have very strong omega objectives that are quantifiable. And finally, and this is what differentiates them, is to select the correct people. So in a normal Canvas model, this wouldn't be one big part of the model, but in this entrepreneurship model, it's the most important part of their model. And this is how they work, and it has been successful, at least in this company. The internationalization of the brand, they were born to be an international brand. As you have seen, most of the promotion is in English, and the packaging and everything, it's simple and clear enough to be exported without no significant changes. Nowadays they work in Australia, Bolivia, Chile, Guatemala and Mexico, but they do have more than 25 countries asking for the product. And one of the problems they have found is that there are many people coming from other countries, from countries in Europe, from the US, that are telling them to export the tea to their countries, but they're saying that for the moment they are not prepared because they don't have high level of production as to cover a big market like one European market or the US market. So they're trying to finish to be the biggest or one of the biggest brands in Colombia and then starting to internationalize and finding new business opportunities and expanding. So, but I do think they have a very good potential for internationalization. And in conclusion, they are really innovative in most of their processes. If we were to say that which are the disruptive innovations in the company, I would say it's first of all the corporate culture and second of all their marketing. I think those are the strongest parts of the company. But in any way, this has been a very different product, and it has had a good response from the customers. And finally, this is made to be a global brand. It is made to be a brand that grows, that has not many costs on internationalizing. So I do think it has a very big potential, and it wouldn't be strange if you come back to your country and in 1 or 2 years you start seeing this tea and consuming it. So I do think this potential gives also a very important added value to the company. Finally, thank you for hearing this long presentation, and that's all.